With the White Lotus Season 3 coming to an end, we are being so shattered and in dire need of lorazepam, a hug, and maybe an exorcism.
Well, that was stressful. I thought I was going to have a grand mal seizure. I don't even have my lorazepam. I'm going to have to drink myself to sleep.
This season, this beautiful, twisted, philosophical fever dream of a season, managed to make receding hairlines sexy, question the nature of fate, and ruin tropical vacations forever. And in today's video, we're breaking down everything: who died, why it matters, and what it means for the future of the White Lotus. But before we dive in, go ahead and like and subscribe so I can finally afford to rent a yacht and cry on it with my brother. You know, like normal people. Arguably the most tragic fate this season: Rick, Hatchet, and Chelsea. From the start, they're deeply entwined.
No, I'm going to help you get your joy back.
Good luck with that.
Their last dinner scene is packed with tension and eerie foreshadowing.
And at this point, we're linked, so if a bad thing happens to you, it happens to me.
And from there, they're linked by love, by fate,
That's the plan.
and eventually by death. Rick had just returned from Bangkok, having stared into the eyes of the man he believed killed his father. He'd let go of his revenge fantasy. He was free, or so he thought. This all ties into the title of the episode, Amor Fati, a Latin phrase that means love of fate. It's about embracing everything, even suffering as necessary. Like, you didn't get that job. Maybe it's leading you to something better. Maybe it's all part of the plan. But here's the twist. Rick tries to embrace fate. He wants to leave it all behind and just love Chelsea. And then Jim Hollinger, White Lotus Thailand's owner and the man Rick was supposed to kill, shows up with a pistol, some choice insults about Rick's mom, but now Rick has a choice: break the cycle and run, or kill Jim and seal his fate. And a plot twist that hits like a truck. Jim is actually Rick's real dad. Yeah, Rick has spent his entire life hating a man he never even knew. His mother's lie? It was meant to protect him.
You're not going to get rid of me that easy. If you kill me, I'll follow you into the next life and the next.
Let's talk symbolism. Remember when Rick freed the snakes? That's him trying to liberate himself from hate, from vengeance, from his past. But what happens when you let the snakes loose? They bite, Rick becomes the snake, and in doing so, he ends up causing Chelsea's death. She literally tells him in episode 1, even if it kills me, and it does. Chelsea was constantly foreshadowing her own demise. She survives a robbery, a snake bite, and then, in classic White Lotus fashion, dies in the crossfire. Third time's the charm, I guess. Their bodies are loaded onto a plane, just like the victims in every season. And just like that, Rick's story ends in heartbreak and poetic tragedy.
This is so on brand for you, to be a victim of your own decisions.
Now let's talk about the Ratliffs. Timothy, Victoria, Saxon, Piper, and Lachlan. What a ride. Ever since Tim realized he might lose his fortune, the man has been fantasizing about killing his entire family. Like Tanya levels of paranoia.
Please, these gays, they're trying to murder me.
Victoria refuses to live an uncomfortable life. Saxon says his job is his only source of meaning, and even Piper, our Buddhist wannabe, admits she loves the luxury life. Only Lachlan, the youngest, says he could survive being poor. That's why Tim saves him from drinking the poisoned piña colada. Lachlan is obsessed with water, with tsunamis, with rebirth. He even has a near-death vision of 4 bald figures, possibly Buddhas, watching over him. When he returns to life, he says he saw God. Whether that's literal or symbolic, it feels like Lachlan's been spiritually reborn. Meanwhile, Tim finally puts his phone down and tells the family they're going to get through this as a family, which is wild considering he was literally planning their murder 12 hours ago. Irony is alive and well, folks. Now let's get into the callbacks. Belinda from season 1 and Greg from seasons 1 and 2 make their grand return. Greg, or now he goes by Gary, is now living in Thailand with Chloe, thanks to all that blood money he inherited from Tanya's so-called accidental death. Belinda recognizes him from Hawaii and immediately knows something shady is up. Greg tries to pay her off with $100,000. But her son Zion goes full Shark Tank and demands $5 million instead. Greg folds. Belinda leaves Thailand rich, but emotionally complicated. She's essentially taken blood money and walked away from porn chai in the process. Her dream was to help underserved communities with a spa business. But now that she's rich, will she still care about that? Or will she get lost in the luxury she once resented? Now we got to talk about Guy Talk, our poor sweet king of the friend zone. He's caught between doing the right thing and protecting Valentin, the Russian behind the White Lotus robbery. Valentin tells him, if he's sent back to Russia, he's as good as dead. Guy Talk is a Buddhist, so violence isn't really his thing. But his crush, Mook, tells him that violence is a part of life, and if he wants to be a provider, he needs to act like one. So when the shots ring out, Guy Talk has a choice: kill Rick or do nothing. He shoots. That moment, whether you see it as heroic or tragic, leads to his promotion. He becomes Sri Tala's new driver and bodyguard. And maybe, just maybe, he gets the girl. But it raises a big question. Is it okay to betray your values if it gets you everything you want? We can't wrap this up without mentioning our favorite trio, Jacqueline, Kate, and Laurie. Laurie's monologue about aging, friendship, and finding meaning in the mundane absolutely slayed. She says time, not religion, is what gives life meaning. Those tiny, insignificant moments we share with people we love, that's the stuff life is made of. And that's kind of what White Lotus is all about. We see Saxon reading Chelsea's books, Frank praying at a Buddhist temple, the Russians celebrating their freedom. All these scenes are layered under the haunting Christmas carol Low, How a Rose Ere Blooming, a song about prophecy and fulfillment. It's a fitting end to a season obsessed with fate, religion, and rebirth. Season 4 has already been greenlit, but we don't know the location or cast yet. Creator Mike White has hinted at a possible all-star season. Personally, I'd love to see a White Lotus season set in the earlier days. Maybe we get to see young Tanya. She's really missed this season. So now it's your turn. What did you think of Season 3? Who was your favorite character? And where should the next season take place? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe so I can keep overanalyzing luxury hotels full of rich people having mental breakdowns. Thanks for watching.
These gays, they're trying to murder me.